Top Frugal Living Tips from Dave Ramsey. Having and sustaining a thrifty lifestyle isn't as difficult as many people make it out to be. Being thrifty does not imply denying yourself your desires or depriving yourself of the finer things in life. It simply implies that you may prioritize things that are important to you as an individual. So, if you're looking for Dave Ramsey's greatest frugal living advice, you've come to the perfect spot. So stay tuned because we've got some fantastic and creative ideas you've probably never heard of. 10. Using the envelope system, create a zero-based budget. Have you heard anything about this one? The idea is that if you ran your budget and paid your bills solely in cash, you'd put money away for each line item of your budget in its envelope. As a zero budgeter, you would allocate every cent of predicted monthly revenue to an envelope in your system. Nowadays, there is a spike in people attempting to embrace thrifty living practices, and everyone is savvy. Others go about their everyday lives, wondering why they keep spending more money every day at the grocery store, online, and restaurants, among other locations. When you only touch a small amount of money on each bill, you're much less likely to go over budget on any item. This is possible with a non-cash system, it just takes more work and dedication. According to Dave Ramsey, this is a critical guideline for starting and maintaining a modest lifestyle. Also, despite the fact that many people dislike budgets, if you start planning your life, finances, and expenditures, you'll be surprised at how much you can do in terms of frugal living. 9. Stop buying new cars. Or, honestly, don't buy any new or used automobiles for as long as you can. We all adore automobiles, particularly the most contemporary ones with incredible engine noises, elegant interiors, and supercharged engines. But the real question is why you need these automobiles in the first place, especially if your previous one is absolutely good. Why squander so much money for something that would eventually lose its value over time? His theory is that as you drive off the lot, your investment depreciates. If the typical new automobile loses 18% of its value in the first year, it certainly makes sense to attempt to acquire a one-year-old car for 18% off the sticker price instead. The simplest method to avoid this common error is to do this. When you want a new automobile but do not need one, discover the car you want, at the greatest price you can find. Then figure out the monthly payment. Set aside that amount of money from your monthly budget, if it's within your budget, in a safe until you've saved up the cash worth of that automobile. It's a lengthy game, but the joy of not incurring any further debt and owning the automobile outright when you drive it off the lot is unmatched. 8. Reduce your expenses. In theory, if you have fewer commitments to which you must distribute your income, you will spend less money each month. Yes, this is a critical component of existence. In fact, it is considered that the more money you have, the more duties you are prepared to take on, which leads to greater spending. You probably wouldn't need that third streaming service, the monthly meal out, or the magazine membership. Make it a game to see how many expenses you can cut from your budget and how much your debt snowball can grow. We found Dave's excellent budget percentage recommendations quite useful when we started budgeting. 7. Have funds for rainy days. It sounds like a good idea to pay cash for everything and steer clear of interest charges wherever feasible. Well, misery is like company, and difficulties are unavoidable. You may be wondering where to store emergency money. When you create a tiny, flexible $1,000 emergency fund as part of Dave Ramsey's suggestion, you'll want it to be cash or an easily accessible savings account. This will cover minor auto repairs and furnace repairs. As you progress through Dave Ramsey's baby stages, you'll eventually accumulate a considerably larger emergency fund, sufficient to cover 3 to 6 months of costs in the case of a major setback. This should be a rather fluid account as well. 6. Whenever possible, pay in cash. We've previously discussed good debt, bad debt, credit cards, and automobiles. Every time you pay using a method other than cold, hard cash, you face the danger of paying more than the real amount owing to the cost, often known as interest. Yes, it's so easy to swipe that card or casually say, "Put it on my account," that you'd never realize when you're overspending. You may argue that same as cash, financing is a good concept because no interest is involved. Isn't that ideal? Wrong. Run the numbers the next time you use a credit card with 0% financing. Your statement minimum payment will be less than the monthly minimum necessary to pay off the debt in full after the promotional term. If you're enjoying these tricks so far, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos. 5. Each month, pay down your credit card balances. Many people fall into the corporate trap of believing that to be affluent, you must charge it to your card. Credit card firms are typically the only ones that genuinely gain from this. You could get some incentives, but how much money do you have to spend to get a 1% reward worth something? When you earn $1 for every $100 spent, it may be wiser to pay cash rather than risk accumulating a 12 to 30% interest penalty. If you can't stop the pattern of being charged interest on your credit cards, Dave Ramsey's famous plastic surgery, rip up the cards and say good riddance, is the best suggestion. Please don't fall into the trap of accumulating so much debt that it becomes hard to retire in the future. 4. Buy a modest home you can afford. The most expensive item in most people's lives is their home. Dave recommends purchasing a tiny, inexpensive property to avoid overextending yourself. A reasonable rule of thumb is to keep your housing costs under 30% of your take-home pay. Better still, allow yourself some leeway and keep it under 25% of your take-home pay. If you fall into the trap of purchasing an overly large home, all of your other bills will follow. You will also automatically purchase additional items to occupy the available space in your home. Keep things simple by purchasing a pleasant property that your family can afford and will provide you with a high quality of life. 3. Save, save, save. With a comprehensive strategy of baby actions to take, the overarching goal is to save money. Spending less and saving more is the foundation of Dave Ramsey's advice. In a nutshell, start by saving money on the things you can't avoid. Avoid buying goods you don't need, purchase fewer of the things you do need, if possible, and always shop around for the best deal to ensure you don't spend more money than required on any one item. It's known as being thrifty, and being frugal equals freedom. Proceed to save for retirement, large future purchases, to minimize interest payments, or major life events. 2. Avoid using brand names. There is no clear and fast rule that brand names are better than off-brands or generics. There may be a few exceptions, but generally, not paying for a name will save you a lot of money. People are constantly drawn to Gucci and Dior. It's logical, but the fact is that these large corporations are merely promoting their names. There are lower brands with comparable quality, so avoid most of these huge names. You'll also save time by not looking around for a good deal because generics often have constant costs all year. 1. Stop eating out all the time. This is something that many people are concerned about. We all know that eating is necessary for living, but some people have taken advantage of the fact that they must eat to survive by going to restaurants every day and spending all of their money on gourmet meals. People spend an outrageous amount of money on eating out each year. Not only would learning to cook at home save you money, but it would also be good for your health. You are less likely to gain weight and experience weight-related health issues if you eat fewer calories. Having less food per meal implies having less food in the house, which reduces the size, speed, and cost of your grocery excursions. Even if you only start using this suggestion with less cheese sauce in your mac and cheese, your shopping budget will soon thank you. You may also save a lot of money by planning your weekly meals ahead of time. Food costs a lot of money, and if you've mastered the art of not eating out, your finances will undoubtedly improve, and you'll be able to live on a budget. That wraps up our list of 10 top frugal living tips from Dave Ramsey. Do you think it is easier for you to save funds, or you just can't stop buying cars? Let us know. And if you learned a new trick in this video, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos.